are set to make history. We are set for tonight's Tale of the Tape in the main event.
Now, the numbers that will jump out at you, and this is always the case with Castano, he gives away height, he gives away reach, but here's what he does. He finds his way inside, and he throws lots of punches. But on the way in, will Charlo be able to hurt him? We'll find out.
The main event rules. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round if a fighter cannot continue due to an injury from an accidental foul or headbutt before the end of round 4. It's a no decision. After the end of round 4, they go to the scorecards for a technical decision. With the main event introductions, here once again, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the AT&T Center here in the beautiful city of San Antonio, Texas, as Premier Boxing Champions presents the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Lions Only Promotions, TGB Promotions, and Showtime, sponsored by Geico. This undisputed world championship is sanctioned by the WBA President Gilberto Jesus Mendoza, Supervisor Jose Oliver Gomez, the WBC President Mauricio Suleiman, Supervisor Jill Diamond, the WBO President Francisco Valcarcel, Supervisor Edgardo Lopez Sasso, the IBF President Daryl Peoples, and Supervisor is Levi Martinez, along with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations. The Chairman is Rick Figueroa, and the Executive Officer, Brian Francis. Our judges scoring from ringside, from Nevada, Tim Cheatham, from Puerto Rico, Nelson Vasquez, and from New Jersey, Steve Weisfeld. Introducing our referee in charge, he'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Hector Afu. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening, 12 rounds of boxing for the unified 154-pound championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from San Antonio, Texas, it's Showtime! Introducing to you first, the WBO World Champion fighting out of the red corner, wearing red trunks with black and gold trim, hailing from and representing San Justo, Buenos Aires, Argentina. He weighed in at 153 1/4 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with a record of 17 wins, no losses, 1 draw, with 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making the first defense of his current title, here is the former WBA World Champion and the current newly crowned and undefeated WBO Junior Middleweight Champion of the world, introducing Brian the ring, the unified world champion fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing tan trunks with black and red trim, representing the acclaimed boxing family from Houston, Texas. He weighed in at a trim and ready 153 pounds with a record of 34 wins and 1 loss. He has 18 wins coming by way of knockout tonight in his 8th world title appearance. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the current, reigning, and defending WBC, WBA, and IBF 154-pound champion of the world, introducing Jermell, Iron Man Charlo. Once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions, Hector Afu.
Brian, only one. Okay, guys, I got the instruction in the dressing room. Yo le di las instrucciones en la esquina. I want a clean fight. Necesito una pelea limpia. Choque en guante. Top two, bro. Go.
Referee Hector Afu, 18 years as a pro, officiating his 300th bout. None bigger than this historic encounter. Boxing history. We are on the cusp of a coronation at 154. Who will walk out of San Antonio undisputed champion? The bell in round one, Charlo and Castano.
Yeah, if you're Jermell, you want to establish the jab right away. Get that distance, get the range, get familiar with it, because you know Castano's coming to close the gap.
Castano, while I mentioned he averaged 84 punches, sometimes he will take the first round to kind of figure out, how can I jab my way in? What can I do to get myself in without being in harm's way? So you may not see that many punches early. He has to rev his engine up to get there.
Castano dethroned Patrick Teixeira in dominant fashion for a 154-pound title in his last fight in February. He's a two-time titleist at this weight class, just like Charlo, who unified the 3 titles against Jason Rosario. Charlo's trainer, Derek James, says that Rosario has more power, but that Castano punches more. He tries to outwork you.
Yeah, that may be the biggest understatement in history.
Although he expected that one of the tricks that Charlo talked about having for this fight would be that Charlo would try to pressure Castano in the early going. And we have seen, Abner, in the past when Charlo tries to lead the dance, well, he is paid for it. He's a very effective counter-puncher, and of course, has the great equalizer, the one-hitter quitter.
He is, and he does that. But now, you know, you can tell that Charlo's just basically looking for Castano to make mistakes. And that's a good thing. You want to do that as well, because Castaños will make the mistakes, especially coming in, because, you know, he always tries to find a way in, but he throws wild punches and he opens up.
Yeah, I wouldn't go so far. I got you, but he's pretty responsibly defensively. I do agree with you. Charlo was baiting him there, and I think he's going to bait him at certain points on the ropes.
Especially the inside punches.
Yes, and no question, I agree with you. Charlo can blast him with one punch and a counter punch.
45 seconds left in the opening round, and that has been the surprising statistic. The fact that Castano is such a buzzsaw, high-volume pressure fighter who is still surprisingly defensively responsible as he lands that lead right hand to the body of Charlo. And Charlo again collecting the data, wanting to utilize that jab. 30 seconds left in the opening round.
Listen, Castano's going to try to outwork you. He's not doing that right now. Obviously, it's the first round, figuring out Jermell. But, you know, if you're Jermell, you don't want to outwork Castano. You don't want to go down to that level. You be smart. You wait for the right moment.
Well, no one has thrown as many punches per round in terms of a Charlo opponent than Castano coming into this fight. But this is a completely clean sheet and a cautious start to this encounter.
Let's take a look at the keys to victory for these men. For Jermell Charlo, he wants to keep Castano at bay, use his height and reach, and control the range. His uppercut is a lethal weapon, and the shorter Castano could be there for that punch. Now, other than when he's collecting that data, he doesn't want to retreat to the ropes too well. Castano's excellent attacking there. For Castano to be effective, he's going to have to be somewhere near that average of 84 punches per round. He wants Charlo fighting off his back foot if he can make that the case, and sometimes he squares his body up while attacking. If he does that against Charlo, Charlo will do what Manny De Jesus did, and that is knock him down with the right hand. There's
Jermell's older brother by a minute. Jermell, 160-pound belt holder, round 2 of this battle to determine The first undisputed 154-pound champion on the men's side in the four-belt era. You know, Castano, the only blemish on his record, that split draw with Erislandy Lara in 2019, an entertaining and competitive contest. Castano forced Lara to throw a career-high 825 punches. Charlo's never thrown more than 680 in a fight, and that was nearly 9 years ago against Deshaun Johnson.
Yeah, this is the question. Charlo 6-1 in championship matches, 5 KOs. He is much more of a power puncher now. Will he want to throw that kind of volume, or will he just pick the spots and look for the one punch that will turn things?
Yeah, Charlo has emerged as the emperor of efficiency, a more cautious fighter, but boy, he is definitely explosive when it comes to the way he likes to end the fistic proceedings, Abner.
Yeah, and he's really...
And here comes Castano.
That's what I was just about to say. Castano has some...
Oh, but Charlo countered him and clipped him in between these shots. And Charlo now unloading on Castano. The crowd in San Antonio in fuego.
Counter left hook, so Charlo immediately is able to counter with a power punch.
And that is why Castano wasn't going in there right away. He was trying to work his way inside.
A dangerous counter puncher with the perfect balance of speed and power. That is Jermell Iron Man Charlo. Al, you mentioned Castano has been down once. That was in November of 2016. Came back to stop Emmanuel De Jesus in the 6th round after being dropped by a vicious right in the 2nd.
But he got right up from that.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, he's hurt. He was hurt here, and he's still hurt. And Charlo is kind of weighing how far quickly he attacks, but that left hook really hurt Castano.
Mature, composed, and efficient attack from Jermell Charlo. 1-2 lands. Nearing 30 seconds left here in what has been a terrific 2nd round for Jermell Charlo.
And it's crazy because I think that Jermell is going to be more effective when Castano becomes aggressive. And that's, you know, that's
So
the only
that's
chance.
exactly where the counter-punching comes into
And that's what
play.
Castano wants to do, though.
And really a lot of observers, a lot of pundits felt it would come down to just how well can Castano handle the vaunted power of Charlo. He tasted it early. And there is Castano's wife, Carolina. Not the way she wanted to spend her honeymoon, but hey, this is going to, if he is victorious, will definitely set them up for a much better life.
Well, not a good beginning, because Castano, while he landed some punches there, took that counter left hook from Charlo, and that hurt him. And he did not go down, and Charlo did go after him, but couldn't knock him down in that instance, and then was much more measured the rest of the round. Another look at it, Abner, and that counter left hook gets there.
And not that Castano was doing the wrong thing. I think he was doing really good. But, you know, with Jermell, you got to be careful with those punches. It's almost impossible. You know, you just got to be careful. You got to go in there, throw your punches if you're Castano. But again, you know, Jermell Charlo is just so quick with those punches.
Iron Man Jermell Charlo would love to rule the 154-pound weight class with an iron fist, but he's in with a double tough Brian Castano, yet to taste defeat. But he has tasted the power of Charlo as we settle into round number 3, scheduled for 12.
And you know, we all wondered what would be the counter punch of choice. Would it be the straight right hand, the uppercut? It turned out to be the left hook from Charlo, and we'll see what the future of this fight brings.
The talent and depth at 154 over the last 5 or 6 years, they have organically held an unofficial round robin at this weight class, and it culminates with number 1 Jermell Charlo against number 2 Brian Castano. The future of the sport needs to be more of the best fighting the best, like we are seeing here tonight.
Yeah, this division has certainly shown that. Now, here's the problem for Brian Castano. He can't win this fight where he is right there.
No.
He's going to have to attack, but he's got to figure out a way to do it without getting hurt.
He needs to get underneath that jab, Abner.
Yeah, it's almost impossible, but you know, you have to go for it. You have to go for it if you're Castano. Just be really cautious, you know, go in there, land 2-3 punches. Don't try to hook as much with Jermell because, you know, we saw what happened there.
Patrick Teixeira is a top 10 ranked 154-pounder, held the belt before being dethroned by Castano. Castano overcame massive disadvantages in height in that fight. Not to say Teixeira is the same fighter as Charlo, but he's going to have to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it starts with the Castano jab. He needs to double jab his way in without getting hit by a counterpunch and then putting himself in position where he can throw.
Yeah, and that was a perfect demonstration from Jermell that, you know, that's a perfect range he wants to have Castano's.
Final 60 seconds. Workmanlike third round with Charlo working behind the jab, keeping Castano not where Castano wants to be, as we have said ad nauseum. Castano needs to find a way to bring that two-fisted attack to the inside. But what? He has to navigate a minefield.
And we gotta acknowledge the level of fighting that Jermell has. I mean, it's a lot easier, or was a lot easier for Castano to get in with the previous fighters, but with Jermell, he's having a lot of trouble.
Well, yeah, Charlo is such a strong power puncher, and he did it against Lara, who's obviously a top fighter. Teixeira, other good fighters, but Charlo's a different animal.
Yeah.
Charlo went to that jab to the body. We saw what happened in the 8th against Rosario. Now Castano closing the distance. Clips Charlo with the left hook.
Oh, my.
Charlo.
He only did that because you let him do that, right? You're trying to spill around, right? You cannot let him spill around. The jab is the key. Even if you don't do that pop, you can beat it with a jab. We're winning the fight, right? You want to win the fight. We got to get up and get on mixed fight like that. Remember this, if that happens, smother that. Stop it. They're smothering, they're stopping. Listen. Pop that jab.
Well, Brian Castano this time attacked and did it effectively. Landed a nice overhand right, and Charlo did try and counter him. There's the hook, but Castano blocked it and landed his own hook. And then Charlo coming back with good shots, and Castano kept with the hook, and that one did impact Jermell Charlo.
Yeah, buckled his knees.
So that's the Castano that if you tuned in and you've never seen Brian Castano fight before, that's the version we were talking about.
And he finished with a sweet right uppercut on the inside as we begin round 4. The plot thickens here in San Antonio, Texas.
And that was great for Castano. He took advantage of that opportunity that Jermell gave him. He really gave him that opportunity. He got himself on the ropes. He covered. He tried to counter. He tried almost playing peekaboo, but he got caught with the left hand.
Oh, and Charlo eats that right hand to the body by Castano as Charlo was trying to keep him at bay with the stick. Castano able to close the distance.
Castano has a sneaky right hand. It's not monstrously powerful, but it's a sneaky punch that can get in from time to time.
And we talked about the only way, and that is the only way Castano can win this fight, is being aggressive, being in Charlo's chest, right there, right inside. Did not give Charlo enough space to counterpunch.
Charlo along the ropes. Castano with that left hook blocked by Charlo. Charlo moving to his left, now planting his feet.
Castano doing a good job of cutting the ring off there on Charlo and keeping him in a certain spot. Well, you can just feel
there's that jab left hook behind the guard.
You can feel the wheels turning in Jermell Charlo's head, looking for the opportunity to counter.
Midway point, Charlo with some leverage on those punches. There's a sweeping left hook by Charlo.
And this was happening right now, guys. Castano's already took Charlo's best punch, which is the hook. And he said, well, yeah, I took it. I almost, you know.
Oh, and And there, Castano lands a right on Charlo.
And he hurt Charlo as well, so now he knows that once he gets in, he lands his combinations, he can do damage as well.
Final minute of the fourth. They tee off on each other. Castano comes back now. There's a left hook to the body, a right, and another left hook that clipped the jaw of Jermell. Charlo.
This is the work Castano is capable of, and it's probably winning him this round.
And there, Charlo with the right hand behind the guard before Castano fires back.
And he's known to do this all fight, all rounds.
It was a anticipated styles clash coming into this momentous matchup. Castano has Charlo in the corner, unloads the left to right. There's a cuffing left hook by Charlo. Good stuff through 4 rounds.
Mete gancho abajo también. Muy bien, buen trabajo, loco. Queda bien, queda bien. Sí que va bien, loquito.
You're doing well, you're doing well.
Respira bien, cuando va a cambiar golpe, bueno, te regalé.
Try to go in a little, you gotta go in a little deeper.
Va. Mira armadito, va. Mira armadito,
He like this. Jay, you step around him all day long. You got the best legs in boxing. You gotta, don't go to the rope. If he gets too close, you smother that. All right? Seconds out. Smother that. All right? You're giving rounds away, Jay.
We heard Derek James telling Jermell he's giving rounds away. That's been a common theme throughout his career, and yet again that power has been the great equalizer, as Charlo going to try to continue to snipe at distance, utilizing the jab, but Castano, of course, will try to close the distance and utilize his two-fisted attack.
The other thing he didn't like, Derek James, was that Charlo went to the ropes, and he wants to keep him in the center of the rope.
And that's something that happened when he fought Harrison the first time. He gave a lot of rounds, he stood on the ropes, and, you know, he paid dearly. I mean, the fight was close, but right now, you know, it's a really important fight. He's got to change it, keep jabbing, stay in control.
You know, one of the punches he didn't throw when he was on the ropes was the uppercut, and that is a punch that Charlo may work into this.
Definitely set up a trap. Good for Castano to get in.
Castano high guard feinting, utilizing lateral movement. Charlo unloads the 1-2, but then it's Castano's lead right that scored. And the cuffing left hook before receiving a 1-2 through the guard from Charlo.
Charlo steadfastly not getting near the ropes, and when he does get near the ropes, he fights his way out or moves his way out. And that's the difference here for him. That's why he's doing a little bit better, although he's taking a couple of right hands. Castano, you saw landing 40% so far of his power punches, everything other than the jab. That's, you know, where he wants to be.
Charlo wanting to bait Castano, hoping to counter. Under a minute left in the fifth. Pawing at him with the jab. There's a sharp jab to the body by Castano.
Both fighters really looking for something. Jermell obviously keeping his eye on the guard, waiting for Castano to make a mistake, make him pay with the right hand coming in, or the uppercut that we have not seen yet. And Castano, Castano has to pressure a little bit more. Work the body. You're in there. Break him down.
Right in that spot there is where Charlo was getting himself on the ropes. He didn't in that instance.
Yes.
And that's where Castano's having problems in this round.
And once he lands that body shot, Castano's that right body shot, he gets the attention of Charlo.
Counter attack by Castano, unloading on Charlo. Charlo double pumps the jab, right hand. There's a left uppercut that missed for Charlo. Good head movement along the ropes.
Really solid round.
Let's bring in our boxing historian and Hall of Famer Steve Farhood.
Mo, we talked a lot about the fact that the winner's going to be undisputed. You see how rare an accomplishment that is in boxing. 32 years that we've had 4 alphabet organizations, and look at the quality of the fighters on this list. Everybody wants one champion per division, and we've only had 5 fighters as such in 32 years. The winner tonight of Charlo Castano, of course, will be number 6. Very difficult to win belts in 4 organizations, even harder to keep it. This is a very, very special occasion and a very special accomplishment.
You win the early rounds, you're trying to win the last 10 seconds. You got to back him down, back him up with the jab.
Trainer Derek James wants Charlo to back him up with the jab, and he starts the round by pumping the jab. Didn't see a lot of the jab in the last round.
I mean, we know that he's got a power jab. You know, he dropped.
Yeah. He stopped.
He stopped
Jason Rosario.
So it's not just the, setup jab. It's a power jab. So he definitely can back up Castano with that jab.
You know, Castano has only thrown about 30 more punches, 20-some more punches than Charlo. That isn't where he wants to be in terms of volume, even though he has had very good moments in this fight and won several rounds, probably by the admission of Derek James.
And while it's just a barometer, Al, show stats indicate that Castano throwing more and landing more than Charlo. But this is, again, a theme that we've seen throughout Charlo's career.
Right. It happens early, and then he oftentimes gets a fighter hurt and changes the whole dynamic. And these rounds, some of these rounds very close, and, we'll see.
A minute gone here in the 6th. And Charlo unable to cut off the ring as Castano able to continue to move laterally.
And doing exactly as he was told. Back up Castano, keep him in his back foot, keep the jab going.
Yeah, strategically, that has worked perfectly in this round.
Castano manages to snipe a jab, but eats 2 punches, make that 3 through the guard. Now Castano marching forward, misses with the left hook. Counter shot lands for Charlo. Fans on their feet anticipating sustained 2-way action as Charlo goes to the body. Right hand by Castano.
That's exactly what you have to do if you're Castano. If you're going to take punches, hey, but you'll get your own also, and you might hurt Jermell.
Charlo did a better job there of countering and then getting off the ropes.
And definitely not the output we're used to seeing from Castano, despite the fact that he is definitely throwing more, but not at the rate we're used to seeing. I think that's a testament to the power of Jermell Charlo.
And it's not so easy getting inside because Jermell has a great jab. He knows how to do it. He goes back. Now he's on the ropes, but he always finds a way to turn him.
We've seen many volume punches become less volume punches against certain opposition.
And now it's Charlo pumping up the volume with 30 seconds left in the 6th before Castano comes back with a flurry of his own.
And those are the opportunities we're talking about. Jermell stops throwing the jab. He gives you the opportunity to get in. You close the gap, and you throw punches, Castano.
And you know Charlo's going to hear from his trainer, Derek James, about the languishing on the ropes and eating shots like this from Brian Castano. Missing with that right hand. Wives are on the edge of their seats. Shy Charlo, the family adding the newest addition, Jermell Jr.
Give him that flavor.
And of course for Brian Castano, his new bride, Carolina, in attendance as well. A delayed honeymoon.
The jab will stop everything he's doing. The 1, 2, 3, bam, bam with a pause. Jab, set, hook, behind the shot, jab, boom. Listen. This is your fight to win or to lose. Do not back up.
And here was where Charlo was against the ropes, and after he had done perfectly well almost all of this round, this was the one segment where Castano got him there. He didn't land everything. A couple of punches sneaking through, but that's obviously a position where Castano wants to be. But for the most part in that round, I thought early on Charlo did the right thing.
We are beginning the second half of this historic main event. Attempting to crown the first undisputed male 154-pound champion in the four-belt era. Brian Castano holds one of the belts. Jermell Charlo holds three of them. At the midway point, let's bring in our unofficial scorer, Steve Fargo.
Mo, it's a difference in styles, which makes it very interesting to score. When very little is happening, I think Charlo has a big advantage because his jab becomes the dominant punch. What the judges are going to have to decide is that jab piercing through the high guard of Castano, or is it being blocked? If it's piercing through, then Charlo's going to win his share of rounds. But when Castano punches in combination, he's been very effective. I have Castano ahead, 58-56.
Well, the jab was able to pierce through there a few times, but Castano now returning fire and forcing Charlo on his back foot.
Castano getting in closer where he wants to be. He's finding his way inside by moving, closing the gap, closing the distance. And he lets his hands go. He's really effective when he does that.
And that jab scores for Charlo, splits the guard.
Charlo hasn't allowed himself, though, to really be cornered on the ropes in this round or some parts of the last round, and that's important for him. Total punches, you take a look, and you know, Castano wanted more volume, but he is landing more punches according to show stats. Now, it's where those punches are placed per round. Some will argue, you know, what ones are effective, but it's a very competitive and interesting fight.
Couple of right hands land for Castano, forcing Charlo to exit. Retreat, trying to establish the jab. Avoids that. Left hook on the ropes. Pivots and then goes to the body with a rare left hook up. For Jermell Charlo, less than 20% of his attack is to the body.
Yeah, he's not a body puncher. You know, Castano's not jabbing his way in. That's one thing he needs to do more of, although there he got in without it.
Chopping right hand by Castano. Left hook to the liver by Castano, scores.
The reason he's not jabbing his way in is because he's waiting for Charlo to throw the jab to counter on top, just as he did.
But as he waits, it allows Charlo then to split that guard with a short left hand like we just saw.
Good work on the inside there by Castano.
Leads with the right hand and scores as Charlo again along the ropes.
Is Charlo giving him this round by languishing on the ropes?
Castano continues to march forward as we head to round number 8.
Brian Castano threw 66 punches that round, his high for the fight, and some of them got through. That's the overhand right that got there against Charlo. He's got that sneaky right hand. We talked about it. We know about the left hook that he has. And then on the inside, digging downstairs to the body, partially blocked by Charlo, but still it's there. And then he doubles with the left hook. Yeah. And in this instance, that's his fight in microcosm. Charlo tries to counter him with the left hook.
Keep the hook off that jab, jab, bam, jab, boom. When you do this, and when you make it, put your hand down, boom, go to the body. Breathe deep, deep breath, listen, you got it. Pick it up, pick it up.
For the second consecutive round, Derek James telling Charlo he wants him to use the jab and then follow up with a left hook. And then the right, and then go to the body. And so we'll see if Charlo is able to implement the adjustments that his trainer would like him to make. You know, in many ways, Charlo's similar to Deontay Wilder. No matter how many rounds they may lose, they believe in that power. And if there's any time left, they feel they're still in it.
And so many of these rounds pretty close.
Yes.
So this fight could be going in a bunch of different directions.
And according to our unofficial score, Steve Forrest, he has Castano now up by 3 points. As Castano scored with a short left hook on the inside upstairs.
Castano used, see, there's the
beautiful
jab.
right hand and the left hook.
Remember when Castano was hurt so badly in round 2 with that left hook? And I'll tell you, nice right by Castano. It looked like this fight was not going to be a long one, and he's hanging in there, boy, isn't he?
Charlo's left hook in that second round, stunning Castano. Castano scored with a left of his hook of his own in round 3, and here we are now midway through the 8th round, scheduled for 12 to determine an undisputed champion at 154 pounds.
And you can see Charlo is somehow, I want to say, shocked that, Castano's taking these shots and walking right through him and being effective inside. I know he was expecting this fight, but once you have it and it's there in your face, it's a game changer.
Castano just landed with a left to the head.
And there's the jab of Castano. I think that is such an important weapon for him.
There was a nice...
He only lands a little over 2 a round, but he uses it as a rangefinder.
And I gotta say, Charlo's landed a nice left hook to the body, but then Castano comes back upstairs. 45 seconds left here in the 8th. And Charlo has to be more of an uptick in his offense. We know about his low output, explosive power.
And we know of his power too. He's capable of turning the fight around in one punch. But Castano's getting the best of him right now because of the output, the volume punching.
Charlo with the jab, but doesn't follow up with the left hook or the right hand. It's pot-shotting with the jab here in the final seconds of the 8th. Follows up with a right there. A good round for Brian Castano. And his bride, Carolina, celebrating the efforts of her husband.
How are you feeling? You're doing well. You're doing well. This is the last one. Nice and calm. Nice and calm. He's strong, but you're taking care of him. You need to make a little more connection with the right hand. Go in closer and then connect. I'm good. I don't want any water. Good. He's tired. He's tired like you. You're both tired. This is a war. You okay? Good. Since the 9th?
Castano's 57-year-old father, Carlos, issuing instructions in between rounds as we begin round number 9. Brian Castano has been very calm, cool, and collected throughout this entire experience, leading to what is the biggest fight of both of their careers, but he has definitely not been swallowed up by the magnitude of the moment.
Definitely not. In this round, I think Charlo has to change the tempo. We know that Castano is going to try to come in again, volume punching, but Charlo has to be more of a volume puncher himself. Throw more than just a jab. Or if you touch with the jab, let your right hand go.
Opponents normally land 7.8 rounds per punches per round against Charlo. Castano, according to show stats, is landing 14 per round. So he has upticked that, and that's pretty significant.
Oh, Castano just underneath that sweeping left hook from Charlo. A minute gone here in the 9th, but Charlo still on his back foot and very much unable to, or not unwilling to pull the trigger. But again, it's the pressure of Castano.
And we still have not yet seen the uppercut from Jermell. The sneaky, short uppercut that he usually sets up, especially against aggressive fighters like Castano.
Yeah, I'm surprised that punch hasn't come to bear. Now, in this round, Castano's not landing that much, but he's pushing.
He's doubling up.
Yeah, he's pushing, and you see overall, overall, it's a big edge, more than an edge.
A chasm.
Yeah.
There's the jab.
There's a jab, and it was a stiff one, and it popped Castano's head back, but Castano continues to march forward. Charlo on the ropes. Castano with some blistering combinations, and Charlo rolling with the punches.
Yeah, they're not all getting there, but some are getting through, and Castano's throwing more when he has them in position to land those punches.
But guess what? He's making a fight.
He's making the fight,
And the judges might be seeing that.
Well, Steve Fart sees it as that right hand momentarily stopped Charlo in his tracks.
The right hand of Castano's been better than I think the Charlo people would have thought.
Charlo's only been down once. A right hand back in May of 2014 against Charlie Bellamy. There's a right block by Castano. Castano bobbing underneath. Pot-shotting with the jab is Charlo. Castano closes the distance, doesn't score a lot, but still manages to get to the body.
Well, you can't discourage Brian Castano, can you?
Listen. You gotta go get it. You cannot back up. Go push him back. Work off the jab. If you go one jab, I need bam, bam, bam. More jab. Bam, bam, back on the jab. Bam, 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 bam. More jab. Back him up. Back him down. You're giving him courage. If you don't do nothing, that's when he's gonna run in. Right? You gotta throw those jabs, you gotta kick.
Well, Derek James trying to instill in Jermell Charlo the urgency of the moment. There's another right hand that gets in. Not perfectly, but it got there for Castano, and it came off the jab. And then pushing Charlo against the ropes, working to the body, and throwing combinations, Abner.
Working really well to the body. When you have someone on the ropes with their body open like that, what do? You take advantage, and that's what Castano's is doing.
An aggressive Brian Castano putting Jermell Charlo. He's under pressure here, beginning round number 10.
And we talked about in the opening, Castano coming in with the confidence, into this fight.
But what about the adjustments, though, for Charlo? We listened to what Derek James says. It makes sense. It's great advice. He's been unable to really implement it, and now beginning to open up a bit with his right hand. But
it happens in fights sometimes.
There's been a lull.
Sometimes you just can't pull the trigger for some reason. You overtrain. You didn't train well enough. You're overthinking it, and I think that's what Charlo's doing. He's overthinking too much. He's got to let his hands go a little bit more.
Well, James told Charlo that he was losing, and Charlo was incredulous. Couldn't believe it.
And we talked about the pressure that was on Castano, but the pressure that is on Charlo, fighting in his hometown.
Oh, Castano said it would be. He's the one under pressure.
Exactly.
Castano's an underdog, but he's proven to be a live dog.
It could be that as well, the pressure for Charlo.
Oh, that left hook upstairs lands for Castano. Right hand clips the jaw. Now Charlo sitting down and marching forward. Missing with a lot of those punches, but
he hurt Castano. He pushed him back and he hurt him, but he needs to get after him. In round 2, he didn't do that.
And it's the right hand that Mo talked about.
And there's another right hand that hurt him. Left hook upstairs, left hook to the body, and almost on cue, Jermell Charlo beginning to put a show on here in the 10th. Trying to implement his will and skill and power on Castano, who's forced to retreat. Now Castano doing a little showboating, a little shuffling.
And Castano does not fight this way. It's not who he is, so this is not
he survived
by nature to him.
Under a minute left in the 10th, Castano.
He's trying to survive.
Yep, trying to weather the storm like a parka. And buying himself some time. Oh, left hook! Clipped to John Castano!
Castano tried to land the hook. He's going to have to do something offensively to keep Charlo off him.
And he almost tried. Yeah, you saw that. He missed.
Another right hand lands for Charlo. Another one. By far the best round of the fight for Jermell Charlo. Here with 10 seconds left in the 10th. Charlo continues to unload on Castano. But Castano biting down and standing in front of Charlo. What a fight.
Jermell Charlo can change things with a punch. That left hand after the right hurt
jab.
Castano.
The power jab, exactly. That jab pushed right back, hit him right in the chin. The straight punches.
And later on in the round with Castano using all of this very big ring to try and stay out of range, Charlo running him down. You can see how wobbly Castano is.
Beautiful.
And good job by Charlo doubling with that left hook. Very effective for him to go to the body as well. And he really got after Castano, desperately trying to knock him down or out to make this, at least knock him down to make it a 10-8 round.
But Castano stood his ground. Towards the end, he started pushing Jermell back.
The championship rounds for this historic main event. Who will become the first undisputed 154-pound champion in the four-belt era? The best against the best. Charlo versus Castano, round 11.
Normally Castano is a big finisher, but not when he's hurt like this. Against Teixeira, he landed 55 punches per round in the last 2 rounds, but he's not the same Castano right now in this fight.
Charlo is looking for the big finish here in round 11, and he may very well need the knockout to win this fight.
Or at least a knockdown.
Yes, Charlo's broke though. Ever since that last round, that right hand, he's broke. Now he's looking like himself.
And he's listening to his trainer, doubling up with the left hand, left hook to the body, left hook upstairs.
Now Castano's, I know he's a bit hurt. I don't know if he's, yeah, I think he got himself back. He has to go back to being the aggressive fighter.
And he lands a right and a left.
There it is. Get your respect back. That's what you have to do if you're Castano.
Just past the midpoint of the 11th. Charlo on the ropes. That left hook by Castano bounced off Charlo's glove. Charlo closing in on Castano on Steve Farhood's unofficial scorecard. That jab popped Charlo's head back.
Charlo has not been active in this round, only 15 punches. Not many more from Castano, but Castano now is really getting his offense going.
Going back to what really got him into this fight, the pressure.
Under a minute left here in the penultimate round. Charlo ready to unload that missile-like right hand. It's trying to keep Castano away with the jab. Castano closing the distance, unable to get on track.
And referee coming in pretty quickly, and Charlo did a good job there. Just hold him just a little bit to make that break.
Late left hook, right hand by Castano. Charlo firing back. Left uppercut, there's the uppercut, but back comes Castano. Championship pedigree, championship heart on display in San Antonio.
Listen, Jay, you got to go out there and hit the shot, shoot, bam, bam, bam. Listen, hit the shots, all right? But if you want to give him the fight, you got to knock him out. You got to knock him out. got to knock him out. Listen, we got to be composed with it and shoot the right shots. Work behind the jab, shoot the hook off that. You got to back him down. He only has something when you let him have something.
Last round. Clean fight, okay?
He only has, the last round is it. Is it, the last round. He only has something when you let him have it.
That's the last round. Last round. Try and finish standing up. Let's go. Fight hard.
Drama in the Charlo corner. Derek James letting Jermell Charlo know you need the knockout. 12th and final round underway.
And whether he really believes that, whether it's really true, he wants his man to be aggressive. So that may have been gamesmanship, but whatever it is, he knows Charlo needs to be aggressive in this last round.
Final 3 minutes of this momentous main event on the cusp of crowning the first undisputed champion at 154. Highly competitive, as we expected, between the two best fighters in this division.
This is going to be a really interesting round for both. Castano just has to go back to what he was doing. Pressure Charlo, overwhelm him. But Charlo, look for the openings. Look for the right spot.
If Charlo can do this and stay off the ropes, he can win this last round. Now, is that enough
Yes,
to win the fight?
It could very well come down to who takes the 12th, and it's Charlo beginning to utilize the jab. Castano, high guard, standing right in front of Charlo, trying to get close, trying to get to the body. Oh, goes upstairs with the overhand right. Does Castano.
A lot of pressure, guys. So much at stake. It's all in this round for, I think, for Charlo.
And you can feel it in this building. Charlo's done a very good job early in this round, though, of landing the jab and some things behind it. But here comes Castano trying to close the distance. Oh, my.
Left hook by Castano. Clip Charlo. Charlo fired back with the right hand.
And you got to give it to Castaños. He's so disciplined with the pressure. He's not just lunging in, throwing punches. No. He's high guard up. He's waiting for the right moment. On top of the jab sometimes, overhand right. And then he cuts a ring and he's inside already.
Final minute of tonight's main event. And Charlo unloading on Castano. Castano coming back.
Still a close round.
I think Charlo's landed the better punches, though, this round and done the better work. But here comes Castano with a beautiful double left hook. Is there enough time for him to close the gap in this round? Oh, nice body work by Castano.
According to show stats, Brian Castano has landed more punches on Jermell Charlo than any of Charlo's previous opponents. As we come down the stretch, he gets tagged with a left hook. We remember the Alamo. We will remember Saturday, July 17, 2021 in San Antonio. Undisputed championship at 154 at stake.
What a fight.
Gladiators worthy of the opportunity to become the first ever undisputed champion. Their wives looking on. Both of them feel their man did enough.
They're both proud, obviously. It was a really good fight, close fight. Both great warriors, just all around tremendous fight.
And after a second round in which it looked for all the world like that man Jermell Charlo had too much power for Brian Castano, we ended up with a very close and competitive fight. And we will look at the numbers. Now, mind you, remember, these are unofficial. This is where are the punches placed per round and who landed what when. But what we see is both men landing at a good percentage with their power shots, which is everything other than the jab. An edge for Castano by about 22 punches. But remember, which rounds did they come in? Boxing is scored by rounds.
The 129th unification bout in boxing history, the 9th at 154 pounds, but the first time they are unifying all 4 belts in an era that began in 1989, and a fight fitting. And
see Jermell, Charlo, Jermell's brother, hoping that his brother has done enough to win.
well, a lot of people sitting on tenterhooks awaiting the official decision. There's a small contingent of Argentine fans here to support Brian Castano, of course. Jermell Charlo representing his home state, the Lone Star State. Will he emerge as the Lone Star at 154?
Yeah, neither man was able to completely execute their game plan. Castano threw 586 punches, less than he normally does. In spots, he was the Brian Castano that unloads a lot of punches and is effective. In spots, Jermell Charlo was able to throw good power shots. Neither man got it done completely.
All right, we're about to make history here in San Antonio, Texas. Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Steve Weisfeld, scores about 114 to 113 in favor of Brian Castano. Judge at ringside, Nelson Vasquez, sees the action, 117 to 111 for Jermell Charlo. And judge at ringside, Tim Cheatham, scores the bout 114 to 114, even a draw. The decision is a split decision draw. Both fighters.
I may be the Sports Illustrated jinx after all, didn't I say at the top, barring a draw? And I can't believe we end up with a split draw. There will be no undisputed champion at 154 pounds.
I think in general, nobody should be outraged at this. It was a very close fight, and nobody's happy with the draw. We wanted an undisputed champion, but it is what it is.
So you're saying bring on round 13?
Yeah, apparently.
Let's go to Jim Gray to try.
All right, Mauro, thank you. Jermell, this was a terrific fight. What is your thought on having a draw?
Shout out to San Antonio for coming through, baby. I love y'all. I'll come back to this place. The draw was, what I wanted to hear. If anything, I won this fight. I heard him way more than, he did. And Brian Castano's a tough warrior. He gonna give a lot of people problems, but like I said, my power is something serious at this weight division.
You had him in trouble in the second round and then again in the 10th round. Did you feel as though you had to knock him out because Derek James did tell you in your corner you needed a knockout in the 12th round to win this fight?
Yeah, my coach told me I needed a knockout in the 9th round, and I just knew that, he knew what he was talking about. I believe in my coach, and this is my first time experiencing something like this. So, hey, this come with boxing, baby. Wins, losses, and draws. My Lions only still rock with me.
Jermell, let me ask you, this man threw more punches and connected on more punches than any opponent that you had. Did you know that coming into the fight? Obviously, there was going to be continuous pressure. Was it more than you had expected?
Well, I know he was a tough warrior. Like I said, I know he threw a hell of a lot of punches against almost every opponent he ever fought. So, with my skills and my ability of power, I just knew that I could keep him off of me. I felt like I won this fight. Like I said, I deserve to go home as an undisputed. I'm glad to be able to fight for undisputed title. This is different. Not a lot of people in my weight division that's hating. They not even got unified titles. I still hold my titles. Shout out to Al Heyman. Thank you. I can't wait to get home and be with my baby and my family. Take some time off from boxing, and we'll come back to the drawing boards and see what's popping.
And when you look at that drawing board, might you review this fight? And it seemed from time to time that you were reluctant to throw that right hand. Was that just because there wasn't the opening, or were you reluctant?
He had his guards up pretty high. I was moving a little bit, probably not active enough.
I don't have no excuses for nothing that I do.
Was it frustrating? Was this a frustrating fight?
Not necessarily. I feel like, you know, I dealt with this in training camp with my boy Selick. Shout out to UBK. I see y'all, everybody in the building. Hey, I'm happy to go home to the H-Town and represent again. I'm one of the fighting prize of Lions only.
And gonna do this again? Will there be a rematch?
I don't know, man. We got to see what Mr. Heyman say.
Wait, who says?
My manager. You heard me? Al Heyman.
Well, it seems like there'd be a lot of interest, and it would be for undisputed to have all 4 belts.
I want that. You know, that's my goal. That's my destiny. We shall see.
Terrific fight. Appreciate it, Jermell.
Thank y'all.
Brian. Felix de Jesus. We'll translate. Did he feel as though he won the fight, or does he accept the draw?
¿Tú pensaste que ganaste la pelea o el empate está bien contigo?
No, claro, yo sentí que la pelea la gané. Nada, quiero agradecer a Showtime, al Heyman por darme la oportunidad y nada, quiero pedir la revancha inmediatamente porque la pelea sé que la gané yo. Me ha pegado alguna que otra mano que he estado sentido en el round, pero eso no quita que haya ganado la pelea. Le tiré gran cantidad de manos, le conecté grandes manos y nada, quiero agradecerle.
Basically, you know, I won the fight. I mean, there were some rounds that he did hit me. There's no doubt about it. He hit me hard. But I won the fight, definitely. I want to thank Showtime, Al Heyman, for this opportunity. And it was a great fight.
You clearly, it seemed to those who were observing and unofficially scoring that you were ahead until the 10th round, and you got into a lot of trouble in that round. What did you feel the fight would go from there, having survived that? Did you feel that you just had to survive the extra 2 rounds, the last 2 rounds, or did you feel that you lost control of that right there?
Mucho pensaba que tú estabas ganando la pelea hasta el 10º round. En el 10º round parece que él te conectó bastante. ¿Tú pensaste entonces que ahí tenía que estar más o menos pendiente a que él te hubiese noqueado algo?
Sí, obviamente. La pelea la venía ganando limpiamente yo. Obviamente, como eso dije, me conectó alguna que otra mano en el 9º o el 10º, creo, y estuve sentido todo el round. Y en el otro principio del otro round me conectó alguna que otras manos, pero supe llevarla. Obviamente, nada, peleas son peleas, un gran boxeador, un boxeador fuerte, pero yo tengo lo mío también. Agradezco a San Antonio por el espacio también.
No, first of all, I want to thank San Antonio for being here with me. And yes, you were right, Jim, in the 10th round I was hurt, so I was trying to recoup a little bit, also the start of the 11th round, but I did enough to win the fight.
Rematch? Would you like a rematch?
I hope this. I hope this, the rematch. You know, he's a great fighter, me too. I need the rematch.
All right, Brian, congratulations. Terrific fight.
Thank you so much.
Felix, thank you. All right, Mauro, back to you.
All right, and Jim, let's hope that the mandatories don't get in the way of a rematch.
And I want to clarify one thing. I said no one should be outraged over the draw. Mm-hmm. You can be outraged at the 117-111 scorecard for Charlo. That was absurd. But the idea that this fight ended up being a draw is not an outrage. It was close.
Let's bring in our unofficial scorer, Steve Farhood, to take a look at the scores.
Well, Mo, first we'll look at the official scores, and as is often the case in close and controversial fights, the scorecard gives a story in itself. All 3 judges, first of all, they agreed on 8 of the 12 rounds, but all 3 judges gave Charlo rounds 10, 11, and 12. Without winning those 3 rounds, he does not get the draw. And one interesting side note, Steve Weisfeld, who scored 114, 113 for Castano, scored the 10th round in which Charlo hurt Castano, 10-8 for Charlo, the only judge to do so. We look at my card, similar to the official cards, in that I gave Charlo the last few rounds. After 8 rounds, I had Castano up 4 points. And he closed that gap and ended up with a draw on my card, with me giving Charlo the last 4 rounds. So a very close fight on the cards and controversial decision. Mo, back to you.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. 2 ring warriors worthy of fighting to become the first undisputed champion at 154 pounds in the 4-belt era. And in the end, it results in a disputed decision.